Seems in liberal and conservative media alike, many are beginning to write off Governor Ron DeSantis for 2024. But why? First of all, it's way too early. He hasn't even announced he's running. But that's not all. Yes, former President Donald Trump looks very good in the latest national polls, opening up a whopping 36-point lead in a new 2024 presidential poll. It's obviously leading some pundits to argue that Trump has the nomination in the bag. In that new CBS News YouGov poll, 58% of GOP primary voters say they support Trump, compared to 22% for DeSantis, the next highest being Mike Pence with just 5%. Now, shocker, Donald Trump seized upon this news, posting to social media, how bad is it for Ron DeSantis? He's polling at RFK Jr. levels. But primaries are about individual states. And don't forget, it sure looked like Joe Biden was down and out in 2020 until South Carolina came along to save him. And here's what not enough people are talking about. DeSantis has shown strength in some of the early primary states, which usually prove most decisive. According to a recent survey by Public Opinion Strategies, DeSantis leads Trump in Iowa by 8 points, 45 to 37. The two are tied in New Hampshire with 39 each. Combine that with other public opinion polls in the battleground states of Pennsylvania and Arizona. DeSantis has a 4-point lead over Trump in Pennsylvania, and in Arizona, a 10-point lead. Now, again, there are other polls that may show something different, but of course, when the polls favor Trump, he loves them. When things look better for DeSantis, he calls them fake. The bottom line is, we're still a year and a half away from Election Day. Many of the states that really matter, the ones that will determine the outcome, are very close. Joining us now, Dave Wilson, Republican strategist and veteran of several congressional campaigns, as well as Senator Lindsey Graham. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. All right, so I just keep hearing everywhere in the media, right and left, effectively, this is over. Donald Trump is the presumptive nominee, et cetera. What's your take?
Dan, we've got to remember one major thing here, and that is that the primary process plays itself out across America every 4 years. It goes to Iowa, it goes to New Hampshire, it comes here to South Carolina, and when it comes to South Carolina, 10 out of the last elections here, we have chosen the presidential candidate. You're right. If you take a look at what Joe Biden did when he came to South Carolina, Jim Clyburn basically flipped the switch for him, and he went from dead last to almost directly into first place going into Super Tuesday. What happens at the primary level is going to be really important. National polls give us a snapshot at the moment. That's all we have right now is a snapshot of circumstances and people's ideas. Where we really need to look are where we see in Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina, where they're actually campaigning right now. They're not campaigning on the big national stage. So as we talk about it here on the air, and as people read about it on stories online, that's where they're getting their ideas about how things are going. Those early primary states are going to be very key in helping to understand exactly where the primary process is moving.
Are GOP voters going to care if Donald Trump doesn't engage in some of the debates?
I think the primary voters are really going to care about that because they want to actually hear from him. There's a place where, yeah, we all kind of know what Donald Trump's going to say. What we're actually looking for, though, is how is he going to work and how's he going to play against the other people who are going to be there? You know, is he going to be the master of the stage and be the elephant in the room, so to speak? Or is he going to be a place that you're going to able to hear from other candidates, hear what they have to say? I really think he needs to be there and a part of it, but he also doesn't need to be taking it over like he's done before.
Scott Tranter, who's director of data sciences at Decision Desk HQ, which we use here at NewsNation, says Governor DeSantis hasn't even declared a campaign yet, so it's premature to say it's over for him, especially given the fact that national polls don't matter. Rather, it's the state polls and ultimately state elections that win delegates required to be the nominee. Is it fair to say the national polls just don't matter at all?
Scott's kind of right in that. I mean, the national polls do at least give you a pulse of America. But when we're talking about presidential elections, Dan, we've got to look at the process that plays itself out. You've got to go through Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina before you ever hit Super Tuesday. And 1/3 of all presidential candidates drop out of the race by the time they leave South Carolina. That's really going to be able to tell you who is and is not a viable candidate in this particular race as we look at 2024. Because keep in mind, we're only 9-10 months away from a presidential preference primary right here in South Carolina.
Yeah. So bottom line, This thing is not over before it started. Dave Wilson.
Exactly.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Certainly.
And that does it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. Banfield starts now. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.